Okay, that's been fixed. And that's good. All right. So we have finally discovered why the thing wasn't working properly. Took some time, but let me get my Discord here. And then let me get YouTube open here. Okay. Test. Yep. Okay. All right, we're good. So to basically give you a rundown on how I figured this out, I came to this right here, and of course, like I would be setting the local controller, and then I would be calling this possess function. So if we actually go into the player right here, where it's called, I decided that I would get what ID it should be setting the controller to, and it turns out it was -1, indicating that one hasn't been made. So I tried basically creating one. Where'd it go here? Yeah. So I tried creating one. That doesn't work yet. So what I'll have to do is probably set what controller it should be using. If I could spell. Set player controller ID. There we are. And then let's see. We might be able to do it on the size of this. See, this is where I'm a bit confused. This uses the next available ID, but this one doesn't have that feature, I don't believe. Let me look at the documentation here. Hmm. Okay, so it doesn't look like a -1 will go to the next one, which is unfortunate. Which I guess, I mean, since you're setting the controller ID, it makes sense. So I guess what I could do is... Jesus. Hmm. What if I take this? Take the length. And I can subtract that by 1. And that gives us the next controller ID, I believe. Actually, we don't even have to do that. Well, yes, we do. We do have to do that. Can we put this in a macro? Collapse this like single micro node. And I'll do it like that. How do I rename this? Here it is. Next, controller ID. Then we could pass this in. Yeah, we could pass that in. And then instead of doing that, we could set the authority to make sure this runs on the host's computer. Crap. Yeah. And I could just get it like that, I believe. So if we go ahead and save this, and we try it here, it should, in theory, work. Yeah, so now it casts. Looks like the controller didn't set properly. That's interesting. It's now casting properly, I believe. But you can't control it. Is this the same case for the second player? I'm kind of hoping it is. Because if so, then we'd be possessing the pawn properly. It might just be because it's trying to use 0, which 0 is already the default player, or like the local host player. So I could just simply add a check to fix that. If I do that, it's clearly not setting the UI thing properly. If I can find where the fuck it is here. Damn it. There we go. Then I'll launch another game here. And it should also say true up here if it works. If not, then there's something wrong. And there we go. So it's now setting the controllers properly. So what I could do, this is only called when the player gets possessed, which I can now delete this. And then we set controller ID. Get player controller ID. So this is where we'll see what's going on here. So we'll print what it currently is. And then we will print after it's set. And then see if that does anything. Hey Fragmaster, welcome to the stream. Okay, so it was -1, now it's 0. Come on. I need to figure out what's going on with that. I wonder if I have to delay it. Quick question, is that Club Penguin still on? It should be, yeah. Let me grab a link for you. There you go. Enjoy. Do note that is the development environment, so there's still things that haven't been fixed on it and probably are broken, but I'm gonna print links here. If I could spell it would be nice. Holy shit. Need to append this. Something's wrong. This should be set to a player controller. But I don't think it's actually setting it. It might be because it's a controller instead of a player controller. Let me append this. Controller index is 1. So it is being added. This will be the current. And this will be the new. What? Hold up. Let me set this to be a longer delay. Because I don't think it's setting it. When it's clearly supposed to. When current is 0, And now the new one is -1, so it's not setting it. Why? Is that because it's still not creating it? That's confusing. So it looks like I can't just set a player controller. Interesting. That is very interesting. I've never seen that before. Okay. See, this is my issue. This is a newly created player controller. Or at least it's supposed to be. This is when they are given a player controller. So if the player controller is still being set to like -1, then what the hell? How am I supposed to like work with this? Because it would be with the player controller. And if it's already creating one and I'm creating a new one, then there's going to be conflict. That's the whole reason I can't move. Unless I just destroy the actor and make another one. Which is all I could really think of. Add that. Get player controller. Print this. Let's see. Because all I can think of doing is like destroying the original actor and just recreating it. But that doesn't seem like the appropriate thing to do. Yeah, there we go. And it just spams it. Unless we do a do once. Which controller index is now 1. And I can move now, so that's a plus. So the controller index is no longer 0. That's interesting. But does that actually fix my issue? It wouldn't make sense to. I feel like I'm like missing a crucial thing. Cause the index is now 1. And if I go and make another controller here, yeah, then it doesn't do it. So we're still at the issue of it not creating the player controller. Crap. Which honestly, I'm surprised that this even works. Which is kind of throwing me for a loop here. If I do this, and I was just a past player controller like this, I have a good feeling that's not going to work. But I could try it here. Current. It now sets it to 1. Oh boy. I have a good feeling that's not going to end well. Current is 0. The controller index is now 2. Wait, what? Hold up. Hold up. Wait a minute. I might have just figured something out here. And I'm going to be mad if this works. Honestly, I'm going to be really mad. If it was this simple to do. I get the controller ID. And then I literally get the controller by the ID. Which makes some sense, but we're going to go with it. We're just going to go with it. Controller index is 1. The ID is 0. Hold up. Hold up. Am I not printing? It's not printing this. Why is it not printing this? I guess generally just not printing that string. It's just putting 0. Oh. Oh. That's why. Because I never connected it. Because I'm a dumbass. I knew that. I knew that. Okay. So now if I launch it with it actually connected, controller is 0, index is 1. Come on. There we go. So now I can move. So if I launch a new one now, this should be 1. And it is -1. Okay. So this is the weird thing. It's being set to -1. So is it not creating it? So if it is -1, I'll destroy the actor, which the actor will be the new player. And then I will create the player if I could find the damn node for it. And I deleted the macro, which is annoying. Links -1. I'm gonna do that for the ID. Then what we could do, yeah, I could pass, oh, damn it. Need to pass that into another one of these then. And why, yes, it does look horrible. It should work. Which, yes, this is also hurting my brain. And this is stupid. Why? Just let me add it into it. Hold up. I'll put all this into a function. Spawn the player. Controllers. Jesus. Okay. And what I could do is just call this again. That goes there. Paste in the new controller. And that should be it on that one. And I guess what I could do, if I can grab the damn thing, is, what the hell? What the hell? Why are you like this? I wanted this. That there. We could then just print it so we can ensure we had the right one. This is complaining. Why is this complaining? What? Could not find a pin for controllers. Classic UV4. Let's try this. See, it shouldn't be this complicated. It should be doing itself. Also, yes, I just noticed that I just did that without setting this. The controller is now 0. And why this does look like a really horrific mess. As long as it works, I'll make it look better. So if I package this, and then I will try and launch 2 clients and see if it works. Classic UE4. Probably should have done that first. Find the button sooner or fucking later. Holy shit. Thank you. Okay, index is 1, controller is 0. Now it's why is it -1? I didn't work at all. So it's -1. So it'll destroy the actor. It creates a player based on the length of the array, which is sure as hell not -1. Let me just pass this into it and see what happens. Just to be 100% sure that it's just not being ass. It's not organized, so it's making you mad, believe me. It is too, for me. But I'm not going to organize it unless it works, because if I organize it and it doesn't work, then it was a waste of my time. So I'm going to make sure it works before I do anything special with it. Well, kind of. It spammed the shit out of everything. Then it recreated it again. Why did it do it again? That's confusing. It like got stuck in a loop. It got stuck in a loop, remaking it, which makes no sense. God damn it. I'm a bit confused. I need to look at more documentation. There's absolutely no documentation to actually explain this shit. I'm gonna regret doing this, and I know I'm going to regret doing this. I'm really gonna regret doing that. Controller 0, index is 1. If you're wondering why like insist on creating a world, it's not that I need to, it's I want to ensure that the spawn is loaded. Because sometimes if it tries to get to spawn and it fails, then it just will not continue. There's one. But it creates it again. It like executes it multiple times. Hmm. What if I do this? No, I can't because all this has got to continue to be executed, I believe. I do once. Okay. It's clearly an issue with the player controller. Also, yes, Sloth, I have seen your message just now. I'm bouncing between Discord and YouTube. Maybe soon I'll implement an actual pause menu or something. Now it's one. I don't understand. And it creates two players. It's not destroying the other actor. Ha. Okay. And it's still like continuing to trigger this multiple times. Like it triggers it at least 2 times, which is weird. But anywho, this is not gonna work. This isn't gonna work. It all needs to be done at once, which is the confusing thing. Dude, if I could type right now, it would be so fucking nice. Okay, this is what I get for the documentation. This is it. This is the documentation. Notice how it doesn't actually explain half the fucking functions for it? Great job, UE4. Great fucking job on your documentation. Like, it doesn't even say anything about how it's actually constructed. Like, pre-constructed. Nothing like that whatsoever. Is there a class default? There's a class for it. Mm. Game mode and game state. But that's... Oh, what the hell? It's possibly because your game mode and game state class do not match. How could they not match? You're setting them in the fucking game mode file. And there's no way to change it unless you go into the files itself and actually change it right here, which that's the only way to change it. How can it not match up? Reset, maybe? On all actors except game mode and controllers. This is weird. How much you want to bet this is probably about to make a really horrific loop, like infinite loop. God damn it. Where is it? Get player controller ID. Set player controller ID. I shall hold off on that. Okay, let's see what damage I just caused. Controller 0. I didn't cause anything. What? It works just fine. What does the reset player do then? Is this what I needed? Or is it just going to literally cause the exact same fucking thing? What the fuck is that? It looks like they were making it with like clay or something, and they didn't fill it in too much, and it like deformed it. It looks deformed. Like they didn't have. They probably used too much water. If I'm thinking about it, they probably used too much water in the clay. That's great. Absolutely great. Okay, well, for some reason, now that I'm not testing it in the editor, my mouse cursor is now hidden again, which is interesting. Does it at least set the controller to 1 now? No. No, it does not. Controller is 0. Well, technically -1, but hey, at least it didn't create an infinite loop, I guess. That's a plus. And at least I could do, like, a function to reset a player. I'm gonna do 1. And I'm going to actually, like, forcibly set this. If it equals -1, I'm going to do a branch. And then I'm just going to forcibly set their controller to 1. And then I'll trigger it like that. So it should no longer be set to -1. So now I should get something instead of literally nothing. Let us try this again. Mouse is still fucked. Nothing new. But it is 0. Now this should be set to 1 with no reasons asked. It is still -1. I need someone to help me understand this. How does that work? I am forcibly setting the fucking thing to 1. Gameplay statics, or yeah, cast to, crap. Where? Maybe I can get it from the play state. And then from the play state, player index. given controller. Let's see what happens when I pass it this. Exact same thing. What? Also, my mouse broke again. Interesting. Oh, I see. Chat, I seem to have fucked up again. I have seemed to have fucked up again. So now that I have that connected, does that mean he's going to work now? I'm honestly not sure what's going on with the mouse. That's kind of confusing a little. Because this right here should be setting it. And it's acting like this is 0. Are you saying that I fucked it up? I shall test it with it actually connected. Okay, let us try this again with my broken mouse cursor. Where is it? Where? I almost had it. There we go. Okay. And then let us relaunch this. I've got a notification. General chat. I am not playing that. -1. It is -1. Why is it -1? Chat, help me. Why is it -1? Why must it be negative fucking 1? I am setting it to be 1 for that specific player. And if that player is not being set to negative fucking 1, then what the fuck am I doing wrong? I'm going to try it in another class, because I might just be calling this in the wrong class. Or the wrong file, not class. This ain't Java. I'm going to keep this conversion, though, because it should be converting this controller. New player. Oh, well, it's already a player controller, so it doesn't really matter. So I should be able to just do that then. So This is the game mode. If I go into player here, which new controller. Get instigate a controller. How do I get my controller ID? That's the question. Because it's a controller object. I would have to normally cast it. Get player controller ID. That's great. That is absolutely genius. Why did I never think of that? Get my player index. Wow, that's so smart. Controller object. How do I properly take this controller object and get a player controller from it? Let's see. What? Hold up. I need to check this. Get game state. That's not game state, you motherfucker. That returns the current game state base or no if it can't be retrieved. That's interesting. Player state. Which would get us to the instigated controller. So this is basically the same thing as player state. It's just a really limited version of the game state. Get instigator. Get controller. Jesus Christ. Player state. Get player ID. So this is the thing though. Can I get the player controller from the player ID? Is that possible? Get player controller game state. If I can get it from the game state, then it might make things a bit easier. Because if we were to take a look at it, the easiest way to get the players would be the game state. Or, yeah, the game state. So from the game state, it already has the entire list of connected players, which this array is player states. So ultimately, I can get every player and then get their ID. From the ID, I would be able to get their player controller, at least ideally. I could. So it looks like someone's done this with player states to get the controllers. So what they would do is go through all the player controllers until they find the correct game state that matches it using the player ID. But there's got to be an easier way to do that. Instead of that's confusing. So if we take a look here with the new controller, we would get the player state. From the player state is what you would get the player ID. And this is how they're doing it. So then you would take the list of player controllers. You would basically loop through all of them. Get the player state again. And then you would match it with the player ID. That's how you would know you'd have the correct player controller. But, oh god, that is so stupid how they do that. That is honestly stupid. But it's also ingenious too. So ultimately, what I can do is private pawn, or called pawn private, connected to a for each loop with an array element. Then I can cast the pawn. Oh, then I can cast to that pawn with the controller. Get controller ID. The ID of the controller that should control the newly created player. A value of -1 specifies the use of the next available ID, which that is correct. That's exactly how it's already set up, and unfortunately it doesn't work. Here's the function that changes health values in the hub. Okay, so even if I was to do that, it wouldn't work. Only affects the players. Only affects the first player 0. If it's set to 1, 2, or 3, it affects the second, third, or fourth player respectively. The only solution seems to be either somehow getting the current player's index, feeding that value to the integer slot, or using something else as the object for cast of mining pod HUD. I guess that's just their HUD that they have. That's not exactly how I said. So this is like a big issue with multiplayer support, specifically wrapped around Unreal Engine, which I mean, it's understandable. Also, thank you, Sloth, for sending me this. How to call the player class variables directly from the HUD class instead of casting them to the player to the HUD. Basically, it involves making those variables public and doing the cast in the HUD blueprint. But because I had to cast it, I'm running into the same problem. Now, instead of changing to any player affected, only player 1's HUD, which is what I'm doing before, it changes to only players 1 affecting everyone's HUD. So it's the opposite problem. So the HUD already has your player controller, which it's always getting itself. But that's from a user widget. Ooh, I wonder. No, because then I'd have to cast the fucking widget just to get the player controller. That would be stupid. That'd be so stupid. Get owning player controller. List view. Returns a list view that contains this entry. Target is user list entry library. That work? Wait a minute, that might. Get owning player controller. Returns a player controller for the HUD's player. So you're saying that might work? No, it doesn't, because I need that. It's not a HUD, therefore target must have a connection. Get HUD. Target is player controller. I could do that. Well, my thing is, like, it's still got to connect with the player controller. But the player controller is already returning null, so how is this going to help? Get player controller ID. I'm going to just print this. What the fuck? Uh, let's see. I never added a HUD, so I'm not confident enough that it's going to work. Actually, I don't think it did. The blueprint. If they have authority, then spawn. Yeah, I don't think it worked. Oh, let me compile this. Oh, hold up. Let me undo this. I need to undo this. Actually, probably best just to cast it. Unless this. What? Do that. Let's try that again. Did I? Oh, god damn it. So give me what I need. It does now. Okay. So it is 0. So if I build this, so now if I try it again, hopefully this will be 1. No. No change whatsoever. Absolutely no change. I wonder. Get game state. Get player array. For each player. This is player state. So from player state, can I get the HUD? I can't. Yeah, it's not gonna work like that. What can I get from the player state? Get instigated controller. Can I cast that? I can. Which from there, I could try that. Well, the issue with doing that is it's getting everyone. Let me print the links. I'll make this green so I know what it is. From this one, I get the player state. From the player state, I'll get the instigator controller. I'll cast that. I do another print string. This will tell me if it's printing properly, if it casted properly. So that failed to cast. Wait, what? Hold up. One moment. That gave me something that I wasn't expecting. So it failed to cast, but I did get the first player, which is player 1, which would be me. That would be we get 0. This is a player state. I could do that. Can I cast it now? So that definitely gives me 1, but it also still fails. So the controller cannot cast to a player controller. What about a player ID? What does that give me? What is complaining? That is. Let me disconnect that for now. Player ID is 256. What? What? How the hell does that make sense? Can I store an array within an array? No, because it would still be exactly where we are now. I really wish that I could call this possess function without needing a player controller. That would be preferred. I don't need that anymore either. I can delete this. I don't need to know the index. I know it's being added. But it's all because of this player controller. Did it work? Not necessarily. The way they're doing this is through the HUD, which that's fine and all, but I don't have a HUD. I don't have any sort of HUD blueprint. On top of that, I don't have a HUD to display, and all the logic would be within the HUD. What needs the player ID is a server-side only function. So even if I was to put everything into the HUD just to get the player controller, it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't do a thing. I have to create a completely new player controller, apparently. Okay. Create player controller node to spawn a new player controller for joining player. If you are working in a multiplayer environment, keep in mind that you need to handle replication. If the player controllers have states needed to be synchronized across the network. Okay, so ultimately I need to create a custom player controller, basically. So all this needs to go. All of it. Every bit of it. We'll keep that there. We'll hold off on changing that for now. What we need is blueprint. Be a parent of that. That'll be a new player controller. And then from the player controller, I think I needed the login event, was it? Let me go to class defaults. Hold up. Player camera. That needs to be replicates. I guess I could set it to that. I guess. I don't know. Let's see. Class defaults. Is it player controller class? Default pawn class. See, this is the weird thing. It's wanting me to set this to my controller, which is not right. That's not right at all. Let me take a look at this, so. Because this is important. All this looks right. What kind of events do I got to work with here? I need events. Like, there's supposed to be an event for, like, post login that it's wanting me to use. Oh, and the, okay, I see. Excuse me. I don't know how this is called yet, so I gotta do it like that. Compile that. Yep. I don't know if it, like, prints it out or what. Like, I don't know what it does. I don't know how it works. Okay, so it does create a new controller. Okay. So we set to new player controllers. This will be an array. Compile that. We will get. Yep. Add. Create player. Cast to new player controller, which we will do a pure cast, and then we will put that in there. This also needs to be set to replicated. And I will make this public. So now that this player controller is doing that, come back into here, cast to new player. Well, hold up, we might not have to. Okay, you can use the get pawn or get controlled pawn function player controller. That's annoying. We are not doing this. Alright, let's see if that casts. And it does. Literally 4 fucking times it does. So it creates my player 4 fucking times. That is interesting. So instead of doing this, what if I remove that just for now? Just to see if it now properly casts. There we go. So with that said, that's a nightmare. That's a nightmare waiting to happen. Oh wait, it is. It already is a nightmare that has happened. Okay. I'll do that in a minute. So this successfully casts, which will keep it like that for now. We would change this to the new player controller. Change variable type. We will add this controller. Go in here. Compile. And everything seems to be happy. Keyword is seems. That doesn't mean anything. If I go to the get player controller, seems about right. That's getting the first controller. Which that's not right. There should be new player controller for the return. Compile. Alright, now where are you complaining? Right here. I am not complaining. This is complaining. I haven't even started complaining. So it looks like it's not mad with the controller here, so that's a plus. So let me try it. I don't know if I figured it out or not. Controller 0. I'm still trying to figure it out. Basically, it comes down to like the player controller itself. I'm being told to create my own, but I don't see how this would do anything differently. A player controller is exactly what it sounds like. It controls the said player. Like it's what says, hey, this device is controlling this player. So it's basically like an ID for the player. So everything that is owned by that controller and nothing else. It's sort of like ownership. That is why, like, this controller is very important. And if I can't get a way to get this controller working, then that's a really big issue. Which I believe I just figured out a way to do this. Get a reference to self. Now I got a list of all controllers that is being added. So, if I come up to wherever the fuck it went here. Holy shit. Okay. I'm going to, since it's able to cast, get all player controllers. Going to get the length. I will print that just to ensure that it is actually adding it. Yeah, it basically like screws up everything for it. So the length to 0, it for some reason is calling it twice. Is it calling it twice? I think it's calling it twice. Why is it calling it twice? That's weird. I just introduced a bug somewhere and I don't know where it is. Because I guarantee you, like, if I disconnect this print string, it will no longer print 0. Okay, well, never mind. It's not bugged. There's actually something still printing 0 somewhere. Damn it! Spawn player. Oh, it'd be this. It would be this right here. And it's getting the controller ID. That is okay. Let me put this to red. So red is the controller ID. Yeah, like people. Okay, so this is what confuses me. So people who work with UE4 that are like new are all about getting all these debug tools. So they actually download all these plugins, all these add-ons that are shipped with the game to debug something. You don't need that. You just need you just need to print it. This is the only tool that you will ever need when you're debugging something. If you can understand what it's printing, like the response that it's getting, you can track down why it's doing it. Like, you don't need any other special tool. And I don't get why people are downloading all these third-party, untrusted debug tools. Like, you got the perfect debug tool right here, and that is the print string. You don't need anything else. You just need your print string, and you just need a lot of patience. Because reality check, it's probably doing how it was coded. I'm just trying to figure this out. Because I want to understand how creating a new player controller is supposed to help fix my issue. That's something I don't understand. Sure, I can now get, like, all the player controllers that were created, but what exactly is that going to do? I could already do that with the original one. I'm just like doing a base file from the player controller. So the parent of my new player controller that I just created is still the player controller. So what's the difference? Well, all I can do is build it and test it and find out. Wait. The new controller. I have a really good feeling that it is this whole event that is possessing it. And the reason I think that is because this controller can only cast to either the player controller or my new player controller. So, cast to new player controller. I will put this into a pure cast. So now answer me this. What does this need to be? Because if it is failing to get the player controller when it's possessed, then how is making a new player controller fixing this? That's what I don't understand. Okay. We'll put this hot pink. If it fails to cast to the new player controller, that'll be hot pink. I didn't look at it close enough. Sorry. I was looking at this cord and then I just completely missed all the prints. So it's casting correctly. And the indexes are 0. So if I was to package this with those debug strings, does that mean it would work? I don't know. This is confusing. So fucking confusing. Okay. This will be the host, as always, because yes. So it's casting. Where's my mouse? We are. Okay. It also called it again, which is weird. So if I try it now, does it work with the new player controller? It does? It does? What? This makes no goddamn sense. It is absolutely happy with this new player controller. Maybe because it's being casted, or maybe because it's being actually replicated properly. Maybe. It might be why, but that would be so goddamn weird. So I had to create a new... What the fuck? This is so goddamn confusing. So everywhere where I have like cast 2 player controller, where it's like 0, I have to cast it to the new one now. Cast a new player controller. For it to pure cast. Let me disconnect that one real fast. Connect all that there. This there. And now my mouse should work. If I'm thinking right, it should now have my mouse cursor. Which doesn't. That's kind of annoying. Get out of here. I'm sorry, what? It like showed up for a minute? What? I mean, it's not calling it twice now, which is so fucking weird. Hmm. So is the player controllers now being replicated? Everything should work now, right? Right. I need to figure out why the mouse thing isn't working right. Cause like I'm setting it right here to show the damn mouse. Which I shouldn't even have to, because if I go to this widget, which is the load save widget, it's still doing the same damn thing. It's even setting the UI input. Is that being called anywhere else? No, it's not. So I don't even need this. I could delete this and this. Make it actually somewhat decent. So it's not calling when it doesn't need to. So I'm getting a player controller from the game mode. This is just setting if it's the host or not. Pretty basic. So maybe what I could do, I could delay it and see if I just need to wait for the player to spawn. No. Delaying it did nothing. That is right, isn't it? Get 0, which would be player 0. Yes. Yes, it is. Okay. But wait. Why would I need to set these player controllers now? There would be no point, because I'm setting it in the actual player controllers. Or the new player controllers. What if I remove that? I plug this in. Since we're getting the controllers, I'm adding the controller. Which actually, I don't even have to add the controller now. Hmm. which means I don't need this. Because that is now irrelevant. It is now irrelevant and apparently submissive. That is a quote directly from someone from Discord. Get wrecked. So yeah, I don't even need to do that. Wait a minute, I could redo all of this. As new player, I could cast it to that. So this is the player controller. I don't need that. Don't need that or that. Just take this, plug it directly into this. So I've already got the player controller. Which I'm just changing it to the new player controller. I don't need that. I don't need that. I can remove this. Connect it straight to that. I guess I could still print the current controller ID. Not that I probably need it, but just in case. So then all I would really need to do is connect the controller to this. And that should print it. Or that should actually get the controller. That should set it and possess the pawn. And that should be it, which is 0. So that's right. And I can still move freely. But what about in multiplayer? I could delete that. I don't need that. Let me make this look a bit better, because this is hurting my eyes. I can remove that. Okay, so I do need to print this, just to be sure that it is casting properly. So now let me package this and we can test it. Yes, yes. All right, let me launch these here. Okay. I guess I didn't put a string for that hello. It's probably meant to be the true or false. Let me fix that, because that I kind of need. Yeah. My bad. I put it in the wrong place. Rebuild that. All right. Let's relaunch that now. So it's casting and it is 0 for the player ID. So now if we launch another one, and we join it, it should work now. Apparently, supposedly. -1. But it did cast. It did cast. But it is now 0. Set player controller ID. Can we do a self? We can. And I guess we could do this based on the length. Let me disconnect all this. So I can get the length of this. If the length is 0 and I subtract 1, it's going to be -1. If it is host, then their ID is going to then suddenly be 1. I guess it just solely depends on how it works. We'll find out. As long as it works, then it'll be fine. I guess I better connect that as well. Otherwise, it ain't gonna be adding shit. Did that break the current controller, though, which is a question. Which is 0. It isn't supposed to be 0. I don't know how the fuck that's 0. I just set it to 1. No. I set it to the length, which is the length of the 0. Hold up. I'm going to append this. I'm going to convert that to a string. I didn't even tell you to save yet, god damn it. Jesus. Okay. So at the length of 0, it should set it to 0, which is right. So let me package this and we'll test it again. Oh boy. Oh, wrong thing. I need that. And then I need that. And then we're there. But I need to go there. Yeah. All right. Should be 1. It's not 1. But the ray is 1. What? Hold up. It just printed the mine? That's interesting. That is, in fact, very interesting. You know what that means? Authority check. I probably should have done that first. But I'm glad I seen that. Because that was basically calling it like multiple times. See, this is the weird thing, though. If I was to do self, would this count as a player? Like, honest to God, would this count as a player? No, it wouldn't. Why would it? I guess, though. I guess. See, here's the thing. This file's already being made. If I was to try and create a player, I don't think it's going to work very well. So, let me delete this. No, I'll try and show you what I mean. I'll just like do it and show you. So if I create instance, what's this? Create a new instance of the streaming level with the providing name, targets. What? Probably shouldn't mess with that. Create player. So then, what if I get rid of the self? Because I doubt it's going to work. But what if I just do this? I add this newly created player to this array. Ooh. Ooh. Look at that. I gotta cast it again. Which is weird, because I'm in the exact same fucking class. I gotta cast it to itself. Imagine that. Gameplay statics. What if I need to create an actual class for that? The gameplay statics. But I can't. Physically can't. Is that a thing in this? No, no, it's not. Interface. What? That's confusing. Huh. I guess I better not mess with that. Alright, let's try it. I think this is just going to like make it infinite loop. Yeah, there it goes. Infinite loop. But hey, look, my thing kind of works now. Oh, look, I got all these new friends. Basically, what I got to do though is move this over. Destroy actor. Target itself, that's right. And I'll do this once. I don't want this to do multiple times. So I'll have this do once. It'll add that. And then I can reset that based on it. So after it destroyed it, it'll recreate it. And then it should work. Which for some reason it's like doing it multiple times still. I guess because I'm like destroying it before I run everything, which kind of no other way to do it here. Do a reference to self. Get controller. Hold up. Get player controller ID. Equals, and I guess we could do like -1. Yep. I'll do this once. We'll do a branch. Whoa, hold up. I better not do that once. Not yet. So if it's not equal to 1, then it'll just continue. If it is -1, which means there's no player controller, what I could do is I can create a player controller with -1. I can cast that to the player controller, and then I can add that to this array that decides to be way over here for no fucking reason. No reason at all. And we'll connect that there. Then we will destroy itself because it should now have a valid controller. Which then it could just like, the game will automatically set it to the newer controller, or at least ideally it should. Which it doesn't. Well, it kind of does, but after it probably creates 4 of the fucking things. Let's find out. How many did it create? Did it create 3 or 4? Created 3. I'm the 4th. You all are imposters. You know that? All of you are imposters. Classic. Also, I just realized there's no point in creating this because the host already has one set. But we're gonna go with it. And I think if we set a delay, it might help. So delay, we'll put for like 3 seconds. That way so the game knows what it's doing. It kind of doesn't know what it's doing. Okay. I don't know why it's creating all these other ones. It makes no sense. Oh, because yeah, this right here. It makes sense. Don't worry. It does, in fact, make sense. Classic. Then I could just take this, add that there. And now it's not calling it unneededly. Although it's not being much of help with that part. But it might work now. Just maybe. Hopefully. We will find out. It failed. Because I have it open still. Huh. I wonder why it failed. I wonder. My analytics are garbage right now because I missed like 2 days of streaming. That's okay though. We'll fix it sooner or later. Yep. Move that up there. It should now create a player controller for this if it doesn't loop multiple times. I can't tell if it created it or not. Let me try it again. It added it to an array, but I'm not sure. Actually, I don't even think it added it to an array. Yeah, array is still 0. So it's not adding the thing to the array? What? Is it failing to cast? Classic. See, this is so confusing to do. Because I don't understand why it's not creating a player controller. Like, it's just straight up not creating it. Enable multi... Oh, no. Did I really do that? All because I didn't go to the project settings, went into map, and checked multiplayer? I don't have a thing like that. I have a split screen. Under engine, networks. I'm not seeing anything besides that for multiplayer. It's saying there's an actual option to enable multiplayer. But it says like World Origin. Maybe. Maybe. Possibly. It shouldn't matter that I did that with the controller. Because if that is the issue, then it'll like never hit -1. So it'll be fine. It'll be fine. We'll find out. It will be okay. I am going to be mad if that was the whole issue. If that was the whole issue, then why is there nothing talking about that one fucking option? There's an actual thing to create a player controller in this? Oh, there's not, you lying son of a bitch. Event post login. There's only one. There is nothing for creating a player controller. What are you on about? Okay, it's like keeps going on saying about how the engine does in fact handle this. Well, clearly the fuck it's not. Like, clearly it's not fucking handling it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be dealing with this. So if that's the case, this is an issue. This is an issue with the engine. So why am I even facing this then? If it's the engine that's supposed to be handling it, what broke in the engine? Yeah, it's still not even adding an array, and it's still -1. So that didn't do jack shit. And this is only when a player controller has been given. So why is it giving no player controller? Like, I can't even open it up and look at it in Visual Studios. custom game mode class override the post function. This function is called when the player joins game. And it's still going on about some, like, enable multiplayer option. Okay, let me show you this. This is truly hilarious and also pissing me off in the process. So, I literally ask it. It's not creating a player controller. It then says to check the network settings and enable multiplayer. There is no fucking option for multiplayer. I don't know what the fuck it's talking about. And I clarify that, and it says the absence of an enable multiplayer option in the project set is due to the fact that UE4 is inherently designed to support multiplayer. Then why the fuck are you saying I need to enable it if it already inherits it? Like, why is it saying that it already fucking supports it, but it's telling me to enable the fucking option that doesn't exist? And if I need to enable an option that doesn't fucking exist, when the editor should do it its fucking self, what the fuck do you want from me? Like, honest to God. Let me just try and restart this editor. I don't have a fucking clue on what's wrong right now with it. Like, I'm 90% sure this engine is just bugged. And this is downloaded directly from their servers. And it's the exact same thing for the rebuilt version. So let me repackage this and verify that the issue still exists. Goddamn fucking button. It is still not adding it to an array. It's still -1. I did not fix my issue whatsoever. Maybe I just missed a plugin or something. Networking. A unit testing framework for testing netcode, primarily for bugs and exploits. Steam sockets. Fire you off. Don't know what the fuck that is. Voice chat. Chat interface. Like, I never had this issue before with UE4. Never. And I can't tell if it's just me doing this wrong, or if there's genuinely a fucking issue with it. Is there a way? Hang on, maybe I need to just rebuild all this. Maybe that could just be the issue. Nope. Can I launch this with 2 clients? I don't know if this will work or not. Worlds. Host. There's one. No. No. What? You motherfucker. Okay, I don't think it's gonna work like that. Okay. This should, in theory, launch a server as well. Let me host that so it doesn't do anything stupid. Alright. So if I launch this other client, and I try connecting, it doesn't even log. Like, it doesn't even try and log. How am I supposed to use this to debug any fucking thing? What's the point? Maybe that's what the issue is. Let me try relaunching that. Hmm? So there is an issue. What if I try joining this now? If it even lists. I don't think it lists. That's kind of annoying. What if I was to just launch a server? I'll do like 2 players at best. Should be just a server. See, this is the weird thing. A dedicated server will not launch. No matter what the fuck you do, it will not launch. I will play as client. I don't want to play it under one process. One moment. There's already an issue that I see. open. I don't know if it opened it or not. Invalidity messaging endpoint. It looks like it did. Looks like it did launch it. And now what happens if I launch another game? Does it detect it? No. No, it does not. It does not detect it. Top of that, I'm still connected. Let me relaunch UE4. I think UE4 is bugging out once again. It shouldn't even be a thing. I'm using Hamachi for my connections. That's basically how I connect to like private connections without having to deal with port forwarding shit. Because for some reason Windows broke my port forwarding. So I can't port forward at all on Windows. And you want to know how to fix that? By reinstalling Windows. And I'm kind of a lazy fuck right now, so I don't feel like doing that. Are you going to list now? Because honest to God, I would really enjoy it if you did. But it's not going to. Isn't that just beautiful? Whatever. Let me play a standalone. God damn, why is this such a big ass window? I don't think I'm actually like creating a session, so I don't think it's even going to try and connect. Because I'm doing it through advanced sessions. So if it's not done through a session, I don't think it's going to show up. So let me go to this. And what I could do is instead of doing this, I'll do main. And then play. These are mostly just warnings and shit. Oh look, it's now downloading a download for no fucking reason. Why is it downloading? Not a clue. It's not gonna patch anyway. So now it'll show up in my game. hope I can click the right fucking option. And it shows I joined, but it's still -1. Also, I don't get why it's trying to download an update. Must be because it thinks it's, well, it's probably just not setting the version. That's probably all it is. Crap. Doesn't this just suck? See, this is what confuses me. I don't know why I can't get this fucking thing to create a player controller. Is there like an example on this that I could just look at? No. No, there is not. So, this boils down to exactly two fucking things. Either I'm not getting the controller properly, which is, it could be the issue. Or the engine is fucked and I'm wasting my goddamn time on this. And I don't know which one is which. Either I'm fucking this up, or the engine is fucked up. Because -1, it's not setting a player controller. I can't even look at this, because, like, even if I were to click it, like, it does nothing. So I can't actually see the code. So I don't know. Very, very confusing. Well, seems like there is. I guess I gotta do more research, basically. Because that's the only thing I could think of doing, is doing more research to figure some of this shit out. I did my best with the research last time, but I guess it doesn't help that the player controller isn't even being made. And even if I do call the function to create one, it's still not controlling the player. Well, this sucks. Does this even have anything set to it? Get... Oh, look. Advanced friends. This is for Steam, though. Let me try and convert some of this to Steam real fast. Maybe I could do something like that. So I got that. Interesting. Create player. Wow. Like, I don't have enough of fucking those. Heck, how? Create session. Nope. Basically the same thing. Let me add some private connections just to make sure that that isn't the issue. I wouldn't see how that would be the issue, but let's find out. Like, the only thing I could think of that could also be an issue would be the plugin itself. Because I'm using advanced sessions. Take a look at it here. Advanced Steam Sessions is also what it would be called, but I'm not using anything for Steam. Server travel? Fuck is server travel? That's part of the advanced sessions plugin. That was bright. That is very bright. So in URL, I guess that's the map. I don't know. I'm not sure what the in URL is. Find sessions. That's pretty basic. How do you download it? What's patch notes? Back in 2021. This is for chaos. What's the difference between normal 4.27 and 4.27 chaos? I guess like chaos is more of a dev branch or like a developer type instance, but that's all I'm really finding on it. Ouch. Oh, so this one has physics. Okay, so this one actually like so the difference between this is it has physics, it has like interactive vehicles, shit like that. So that's not gonna help me whatsoever for my issue. Yeah, documentation sucks. That's for sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. This is like seeming to be a bug with the engine. Because everything I looked through, it's saying that the engine is supposed to be handling it, which clearly it's not. So I'm not 100% sure. Like it all works on localhost, but the second I try and join it, everything just goes to hell. Yeah, literally just does not work. Which is weird. But I don't know. I don't know at all. Hey, excuse me. Sure, we'll use that. I know it's not gonna. I think the on post login will not work because of it. Like I genuinely don't think it'll work. So I don't even think it'll spawn the player. Yeah, we could try it though. Yeah, it doesn't even spawn the player. So that's definitely not a thing. So disable that. I don't want it to tick before begin play. I don't want it to start with tick. I don't really care about it being ticked. Because I'm not using that. Retry. Retry. Yep. I probably should have waited before I opened that. I wish this editor would stop fucking up in the resolution. World host. Okay. Nope, still -1. And on top of that, the world didn't even load. So that seems to have broken it. Oh no. Please tell me I didn't just break this worse than it already is. Quit it. I don't even know what's going on with this. It's like everything got shifted. And I don't remember shifting anything. I might have bugged something up. No, that's right, because the stuff on the client is completely different. That's why. So, like, it's still running the new code, but it's not updated. So I'd still have to basically rebuild the game. That's what the issue is. So I didn't break anything yet. Nothing that isn't already broken. Disable that shit. But that's what my issue was. We will find out. There we go. I don't even have to do that. Nope. -1 still. Nothing changed. Well, I'm at a loss here. I have no fucking clue. It's not creating the player controller, which is the whole entire issue. So, I don't know. If true, this actor is only relevant to its owner. If the flag is changed during play on non-owner channels, would need to be explicitly closed. Yeah, I don't know. I have no clue what's causing it. I can't find it. If anyone has any clue on what could be causing it, let me know. But as of right now, I'm at a standstill. I can't figure out why this is just not working. I got replicates on. so it replicates between the entire network. But I can't figure out why it's just not creating the player controller. I'm confused, honestly. This is pain. But, well, I think I'm going to leave it off right here for right now. Thank you all for tuning into this live stream. I'm sorry I haven't been going live recently. I've been mostly burnt out and also, like, trying to do research to fix this singular issue. And the more I dig into it, the more complicated it gets. And it's not looking too good right now. So, thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next live stream.